When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, what's going on, Boise State fans? We are here at the Lithia Ford of Boise Postgame show. Took a little bit, apologize with the weather. We were going to be outside, then we moved down here. But we were at the James, and we were with Kent Riddle, our post-game show host here for the home games, longtime coach at BSU, 30-plus years in coaching. Not trying to age you here or anything, Kent, but appreciate you hanging out and having a drink and talking about the game today. How's it going?
Great. Always great after a win. Great to celebrate a victory and be here at the James. So,
well, yeah, we're excited. You've got a beverage. I've got a beverage. We're having a good time. A lot of people are celebrating here with a nice win, 30-7. I know some fans, when you play the FCS team, Kent, want it to be 100-0, and I know that's not the reality. I know we're not going to sit here and say they played perfect. They certainly didn't. But as a coach, you get a win. You got stuff you can still fix. What do you think the coaches are talking about right now?
Well, first of all, I think every win you should enjoy because they're tough to come by. I think they're feeling good about. I think the defense played awesome, first of all, and I think situational football was really good and created a big turnover there at the end, which was huge. But I think those are the things you're excited about.
What with the offense, the first half, 251 yards of offense in the first half. They were rolling. They score on 4 of their 5 drives. Second half, things really sputtered a little bit. What did you see offensively that maybe in the second half to not be able to put that full offensive game together yet?
Well, I don't even think it was that. I think they were trying to protect the lead. I don't think they were out there trying to take shots down the field. I think they were protecting the guys and trying to really establish the run game. And, some of those, everybody gets frustrated to run up the middle for 2 or 3 yards. Well, at the end of the game, those became 3, 4, 5. They popped a couple big ones.
Yeah.
They popped a couple big ones in the first half too, but I think that's what they were working on.
Well, we got Kent here, so if you have a question or a comment, he's going to have a much better chance of giving you an answer than I will that makes sense, and we're appreciative, Kent, of you stopping by, as I said, with all the technical issues we have. But if folks do have some questions, some comments, we're already getting the folks that are wanting the quarterback switch. What's that like as a coach, and I guess just in general when you have an established starter like Hank? The backup quarterback's always the sexy guy on every team, right? I mean, what do you make of just the kind of Hank Talon situation going on right now?
Well, the backup quarterback's the most popular guy on every single team that's not winning every game. So if you got Kellen Moore and you never lose, then it's all great. But, the reality of it is the quarterback takes a lot of blame, gets a lot of praise. I thought Hank played well today. I really did. I'm sure he would like to do better in one area or another. Hang on to the ball a little bit in some of those tough. But, when you're a quarterback, you're looking downfield. That all sounds good, like to hang on to the ball. When you're getting hit from all areas, like that's hard to do, to hang on to the ball. I heard people around me talking about that it seems like he fumbled. You stand in there and be a tackling dummy and hang on to the ball.
Well, I did want to ask about the O-line, too, and we can go there in a second. But Hank was 18 of 25, 204 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did fumble twice, lost the one when he was trying to maybe scramble and then throw it at the last second. But it does seem like in the last 2 games he's taken some step forward from what we saw in the first quarter of the Oregon State game.
Yeah, I think Hank's improved a ton. And the hard thing is, unless you're on the field, on the headset, in the press box, whatever, and then more importantly, the week of practice, like you have no idea what that's all about. Again, it all sounds great, but there's a lot of different stuff going on. I mean, you might think you have max protection and, hey, I got time to get this off, and all of a sudden you don't. And then there's other ones where it's, hey, it's 5-man protection. I got to get rid of the ball right now. So I would feel bad if I tried to critique some of that because I didn't know which protections they're in and all that stuff. But
that's why we're paying you to come in here and start calling for people's jobs and, making some big swooping changes here and say that 89 should be playing at tight end more. I mean, come on. That's why you're here, man. Come on.
I will just say this. I mean, everybody has an opinion, and I think it's very easy to say, like, well, that didn't work. That was stupid. Yeah, every coach in America, if we all had 20/20 hindsight, would be like, oh, hey, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I get that. But that's a great thing about being a fan, which I'm enjoying. Like,
yeah, I was going to ask you what it was like up there in the stands.
Like, hey, there's no pressure. Like, hey, let's try this. Why not?
Yeah.
No, I thought the guys played well today. I really did. I know everybody wants it to be better, but you're playing situational football. And when you have a lead, you got to protect it.
Yep.
And so, do you get a little conservative? Yeah, maybe. I mean, do you still want big plays here and there? But I actually thought they ran the ball well today.
Yeah.
I thought they showed a lot of creativity. And it's funny because the creativity, I think everybody thinks of
hook and ladders and stuff and
trick plays.
Yeah, double passes and all that
stuff. But I think it's way more than that. I think there were a lot more shift in motion today. Relative to them, how they're playing, they huddled, and they did against New Mexico too.
Yeah.
So everybody that's saying like, oh, they just do the same thing. Like, no, they're changing. That's a big deal. And for them to huddle and change personnel every play.
Yeah.
A lot more 12 personnel today, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. I thought offensively, I thought they showed tremendous growth.
Now in the second half, I mean, they only had, I think, 60 or 70 yards in the second half. And you did mention the obviously trying to, maybe protect the lead. Maybe there's some other stuff going on. 327 yards for the game against an FCS team. Though a lot of fans are saying, hey, you got to score more than 30 points, have more than 300 yards. But you're saying it's a little deeper than that.
Yeah. I mean, all you need is one more point than them.
Yep. Yep.
So you're not going to do anything that puts the game in jeopardy, the team in jeopardy. You're not going to do stuff that puts the defense on the field more, puts more special teams plays in the game. Like you're kind of trying to run some clock, take care of the game. They got plenty left in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
There's no need to unload it all in this game when you know you haven't won.
Now, it was 327 yards, as we said. We mentioned Bachmeier for 204. You mentioned George Helani, 110 yards on 24 carries for George Helani. So they get him 24 carries. I think he also had 4 receptions for 47 yards as well. A couple of those shovel passes where he got some big yards. So you're talking 28 touches for, about 157 yards. Plus, I thought this was the first game we've really seen him in the punt return game, and I thought he really did some things and changed the field position.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, George is a big-time player, and he showed up like he always does. But the more they get him the ball, the more he gets going. And again, George is one of those guys. I mean, there might be some 1 or 2 yard runs, and he's going to rip off the 18, the 20, the 10. Like those are big plays, and you just got to keep rolling with that.
Yeah, 24 carries. I bet you that's one of his career highs, I would think. That's pretty high. He doesn't have a whole lot over 20 in his career. He's usually in that kind of 12 to 17 range, and you still get 10 carries from Genty. He wasn't quite as effective today. There was a whole debate in town about are you on Team Genty or Team Helani this week, and obviously both those guys are going to be needed for this team to be successful, but I think Helani, Genty was leading the team in rushing the first 2 games other than Talon Green. But I think Kalani tonight kind of got that first rushing touchdown. As I said, went over 100 yards, over 4.5 yards per carry. I mean, he showed you why he's, rushed for 1,000 yards and is seen as one of the better running backs in the league here.
Yeah, there's no question. And Ashton's going to be that guy. It might be next week. I mean, both those guys are big time players. And, I even think Fado, Noah, and
Crow.
Tyler Crow,
yeah,
are capable backs.
Well, we all love Mr. Crow. Mr. Crow's we see him out in the I couldn't believe. I wonder what he was doing when his son recovered the fumble today. Mr. Crow, we love you. But the special teams as well. I mean, I know that everybody wants to focus on, some parts of the offense and the total yards. And at halftime, I was really defending the offense, saying, hey, you're on pace for 500 yards and 40 points. Now, it did come down.
That's what I thought.
And it did come down in the second half. The overall numbers aren't as good. Maybe there's more to it. But as we're going to hear from Andy Avalos talk about, the pass protection was not great today, and Andy Avalos came out and admitted that and said, we did good running the ball, but whether it be, the fumbles, some of the other things, I know there's a lot more to it. And Andy said we could sit here for 20 minutes and talk about all the different protections and all this, but in general, the pass protection wasn't good, wasn't very good, and that, in Andy's mind, was one of the reasons the offense didn't get going more in the second half. Yeah,
I think they tried to take some shots and. Again, without me knowing exactly what protection they were in and all that, I'd be lying if I sat here and said what the issue was, because I don't know. But obviously Hank either should have gotten rid of the ball or they should have protected better, because there were a couple on some of those shot plays where they took hits in the backfield, and whatever the issue was there, I mean. That's something they'll clean up, and they'll have it better next week. And it's a short week, so they'll be back at it tomorrow morning fixing it, if they're not already tonight. But those guys, they'll get that right. And, I think the big thing you look for is, are they improving? And, yeah, I would say absolutely they are. I mean, this is the first time we've been on, but, even going back to the Oregon State game, I mean, some of that is just first game stuff. I mean, you'd love to say like it was this, it was that, but at the end of the day, it's first game. So,
well, we'll take your comments. We'll take your questions here. If you got them, get them there on the YouTube chat, and we'll get to them. We are live at the James here on Broadway Street, right across from the stadium. We've seen some coaches, some players, all kinds of
Seahawks GM.
Oh, yeah, there you go. We got John Schneider in the house, the Seahawks GM. And I had fans, because he's wearing the polo, not knowing who he is, asking him what would you think of that game last week and stuff like that. And he's, being as nice as he can. And someone asked him how long you've been a Seahawks fan, I heard. And he is being very nice.
Never know who you see at the James.
Now so come on by. We'll be here every post game. You can come by during the week as well. Happy hour 3 to 6. So we appreciate them for having us at the James. And now John has a son or somebody that works for the program.
I believe so. Yeah.
Recruiting analyst or something. So he was here. Everyone was he must be here watching JL Skinner, and all this stuff. Anyway, I'm sure he was peeking.
Probably is.
I'm sure he was, but he does have a tie.
Scott Matlock. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole crew of guys that are probably watching.
Well, we'll get those comments coming. We'll get to those. We're going to show some highlights here as well, Kent, so you can make sure. First home game, Kent, obviously back on the blue. A fired-up crowd, a day game for once on the blue as well. You saw a capacity crowd, the 10th largest crowd in Boise State history, at least based on the tickets that were distributed for this one. I know they do it differently. But a day game, Kent, obviously a nice atmosphere today.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. We get so few of those that you better enjoy them when you get them. And obviously a fast start. Defense goes out. Well, special teams first, but defense 3 and out, gets the offensive ball back, pretty good field position. Drive down. Obviously great throw by Hank right there to Steph. That was an unbalanced formation. They were able to take advantage of a matchup right there. Thought they did a really good job early in the game, moving the pocket.
Yeah.
Spreading the ball around.
What happened on their touchdown there on 4th and 12?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they threw up a one-on-one ball.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and it wasn't a great throw. I mean, I think it was pretty good coverage. Wasn't a great throw, and I think Caleb, thought he was going to interfere with the guy and kind of pulled off, and the ball was so far inside that, their guy made a play on it. I mean,
we saw Davis Cutter have a nice catch in this game. I know he's been battling an injury. He's coming back. We saw, I think it was Latrell Caples or Billy Bowens or a couple other deeper passes down the field. There's one there. It is nice. It was nice, at least in the first half, to see the passing game with some of the more explosive passes get going a little bit.
Yeah, I keep, people are worried about the receivers. Those guys are really good players. I think Latrell's going to be, man, that guy makes plays every week. He's fun to watch. But all those guys are, Steph, Billy, Davis, those guys are a formidable crew. And again, I wish there was like an easy answer, but sometimes it just takes a little bit to get going.
Your guy Tyneil Hopper got down there near the end zone. He made up for the false start with a couple nice catches there, and then nice play there to Helani on the touchdown right before halftime.
Yep, absolutely. So that's what I was saying. Situational football. I mean, they're able to score right there, get it in the end zone, then get the ball back to start the second half. I mean, that was really the big point of the game. I think at that point they kind of put it out of reach, and that's something they practice every week. Like, hey, we're working before half, 2-minute drill. We're working end of game, 2-minute drill. And obviously they executed it really well there and didn't give them ball back with any time either.
Now, you were experiencing this game as we're visiting with Kent Riddle here, longtime coach, from the stands. When was the last time you watched a Division I college football game in the stands?
Well, a couple weeks ago, but
that's true.
Yeah, but before this season, ooh.
And you've probably never seen one on the blue as a fan.
No,
I don't know why you would have ever done. You would have ever come. I don't
99.
Okay.
I watched the
a bowl game maybe or something.
Yep.
Or? Okay.
Yep. Before I started coaching.
Okay.
Maybe it was 2000.
Well, I know some of the fans were having trouble. The lines were pretty long. This fan said the concessions were a nightmare. It was hard to get a beer without missing an entire quarter. I don't know if fans had any thoughts on that. The fan experience they've been talking about. How was that? They raised the flag with Quentin Michael before the game. They're going to have a light show once it gets dark for the night games. They had the fireworks. What'd you make of the atmosphere? Like I said, it was a pretty large crowd. They had the different sections wearing the different colored shirts. You must have been in a white section.
I was in a white section.
There you go. But for you,
I'm just a fan now.
So. What was it like watching your son out there as a fan in the stands?
It was awesome. It was awesome. I love the Broncos. I love the guys on the team, coaches, all that. It was just a good time. I enjoyed it.
You said
no stress.
Yeah, you said you heard some people talking, though. Is it making you want to turn around and say something? Or I'm sure they didn't know what they were talking about, but you're hearing.
I guess the two things to comment on about that relative. Hey, I mean, if you pay your money, like, you have your right to do whatever, but if you think booing helps, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's everybody's right to voice their displeasure, but you're not going to change what's happening on the field because of that. And then, I got to say, I was a little disappointed when Hank got kind of banged up there at the end.
Yes.
And, I think we're classier than that here as Broncos, and, whatever. If you like Hank, you like Talon, that's all your prerogative. But as Broncos, whoever's out there on the field, I feel like we should support them.
Now, they didn't cheer when Hank got hurt, but as Hank went off, then it was the cheering for Talon. So obviously they're still taking a shot basically at Hank for Talon coming in. And I actually tweeted something about that, and J.L. Skinner retweeted me and said that basically, I don't know the exact words, but called out Bronco Nation for doing that. Dimitri Washington, a couple players on social media as well. They said it's not going to phase Hank. It doesn't matter. But that was a talking point after the game that the fans, mostly the students who may have been, drinking, whatever. But I mean, it started there, but it was a pretty loud cheers when Talon Green came into that game.
Yeah. And hey, like I said, I mean, I think we should support whoever's out there, but I mean, I just feel like that was a little bit of a shot at a guy that's out there giving everything he's got. And just thought it was uncalled for.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was going to get to that at some point. Like I said, the players, Coach Avalos, they all talked about that as well. It was something you maybe in the moment when the fans just were cheering for Talon, but it came off as, taking a shot at Hank.
Yeah.
And Hank did not come back in the game, by the way, so everyone was out. We didn't ask Andy after the game. I guess the score was out of reach at that point. Don't know what was going on there, but Talon did come in. The first play, believe me, I saw that all over social media. They were all talking about that.
Which I would say to this: next man up, execute your assignment, which he did. He went in there, ran the team, and they scored.
Yep.
I would hope under that situation, all the guys would do that.
We are going to hear from Andy Avalos here in a minute. George Jelani as well.
I can tell you the other fan experience part.
Yes.
I was on the east side, I guess, and I probably should have wore some.
You're not as bad as it looks on the camera here. I was wondering about that.
God, I just looked at that.
No, you're not.
Pure red.
It's the quality of the webcam here. Probably it's not. It's not as bad as it looks there. But we got somebody saying they like the idea of the blue chaos flag. Would like to see another flagpole. I actually agree to that because it was weird. They put the chaos flag in with the American flag, and you kind of lost sight of it. So I did kind of agree with that. Perry says Hank's decision making a tad slow. People calling for Kirby Moore already. I mean, it's social media.
I thought it was awesome though to have Q back here, Quentin Michael.
Yeah.
Getting that, yeah.
And in general, the thought of them bringing back a former player or local celebrity to help kick it off and raise the flag, I think that'll be a cool tradition here.
Absolutely. And Q's one of the best to ever play here. So certainly went on, had a great career after too. But, what that guy did, he really helped shape what Boise State is today.
Now, Nick Wade is joking here, but he says his favorite play was the run up the middle on 2nd and 24. now that was after
so
they had lost to 25 yards or something on the fumble, or they went back. So it was 2nd and 34, actually. He says 2nd and 24, but it was 2nd and 34, and you're at your own 20-yard line.
Yep.
So what's the kind of thinking there? Do you just want to? Is that a lost possession at that point?
Well, it's not a lost possession, but they're in coverage. You got a chance to run the ball. Maybe you pick up a 10-yard run, doing that, and now you got 3rd and at least a chance.
Yeah.
Because 3rd and 34, you got no chance.
Yeah.
But they brought back the dump screen. Hit that a couple times. One for a big first down on 3rd and I think it's like 3rd and 15.
Yeah. Yep.
Or 14. Maybe.
We haven't seen a lot of the shovel passes. I don't know what you guys call them, but
dump screen, shovel pass, same thing. Yeah.
But there was
that was a big play. And to get that back in the game plan, all this stuff. The offense is they're progressing. They're working on it. Like I said, I mean,
it's hard for
you
fans.
You don't know how big a change it is to like huddle and add in the shifts and motions and stuff like that. Like that's a big change. I mean, and so everybody that thinks like, we all want immediate answers and it all works today, tomorrow, whatever. But we're progressing to win the conference. That's the whole deal. And you know what? At the end of the year, if they're 11-1, lots of good things can happen.
Perry says the team that UT Martin lost to by 5 last week is beating number 10 Arkansas right now. So maybe UT Martin's. You can play that all day, I guess, in terms of that. But somebody's asking about Cole Wright. He's continuing, number 83. Fans seen him out there. He had the long play in the New Mexico game, and he got out there and made a couple more impressive plays. He's starting to get a little more playing time.
I think Cole's doing an awesome job. I knew all along that guy would be a productive player. Obviously, he reminds you probably a lot of guys that have played here, Tim Gilligan, TJ Acree, those type of guys. But he's got a chance to be a big-time guy. He's one of the faster guys on the team. He's not maybe the fastest, but his acceleration might be as good as anybody on the team. He's going to be a big play guy, and he's at this point he's a sophomore, so he's got a lot of time in front of him. Comes from a great program, high school program, well developed, well coached. I would expect. I think they got the number 1 quarterback in the country for after Arch Manning. The next year at that school. So
Jordan says don't. Everyone's complaining about the lines at the stadium. He says don't buy them at the stadium. Could have got free wings at Blue Collar Club and then come to get drinks at the James. Could have got drinks at the James after. So they got food here, right?
There you go.
Great food. So
Absolutely.
You could have waited and. But we got someone shouting out my Jayhawks here. They beat Houston today. Now 3-0. Now 3-0.
Right?
Yeah, 3-0 for my Kansas
what
Jayhawks.
Was the final score?
I don't know.
They were up like 14 or 15.
We are, I think, the lead through 3 games somehow, Kent. We are the leading scoring team in the nation, I believe. So Kansas
Lance
football is
Leipold,
back. You know him at all?
Vaguely.
No one cares about it. We can talk about this.
That guy's a big-time coach.
Took, was it Whitewater?
Yep.
Wisconsin Whitewater Division.
That guy's a
3,
big-time coach.
Yeah. But, well, we can talk about that off the air. Nobody cares about that. But someone says they weren't booing Hank. They were booing Plow. Jen agrees, very disrespectful. This guy says he was cheering when Green went in. Well, we cheered for Talon because we know he brings excitement to the program. Heck with Plow. Let's see what else we can get that's not ripping somebody on here. We don't have an answer on Caleb Biggers. I don't think he came back in the game, did he? He was holding his wrist or something when he came out. I don't think he came back in.
My guess is he'll be all right.
Yeah, hopefully. What do you make of Air Force losing to Wyoming last night? And that kind of opens up things a little bit in the division.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's going to happen. I mean, hey, it's tough to win every week. So, yeah, everybody will probably watch Wyoming that week 0 game because they were one of the few games they didn't look very good. Well, that was their first game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very cliche to say it was the first game, but obviously they've improved. Tulsa, I think, beat Kansas State today.
Yeah, I know, Tulane, yeah.
But Tulsa, Wyoming beat the second week, and then Northern Colorado. Now Air Force, I mean, they're progressing.
Yeah.
So everybody after 1 week counted Wyoming out. All of a sudden they're 3-1. They're maybe not too bad.
Yeah. Hey, Brian Whitney is on here, and he says, "Hey, Coach Red, you're a class act. Sam Whitney loved you as a person." So you're getting a nice shout out from Brian Whitney.
I love Brian and Sam. Those guys are awesome.
And someone else here is calling for College Game Day to go to Lawrence next week. 3-0 Kansas versus 3-0 Duke. Let's
make that's a no-brainer.
Let's make that happen. I don't know.
I would maybe. Think
we're actually one of the 4 or 5 Power 5 schools where game day is never gone. Is Lawrence?
I would think there's a probably.
I don't know what other games are going on this week. I don't know, but let's hear a little bit from Andy Avalos real quick. Boise State head coach. Keep getting your comments in. Keep getting your questions in. We'll get to them. But here's the head coach Andy Avalos after Boise State's 30-7 win against UT Martin.
We're handling some stuff back there with the team and having a little bit of fun and enjoying some of our visitors that we have and seeing some family. It was awesome to be able to open up the season today on the blue. We got great weather and got a chance to play in front of Bronco Nation, who was awesome today. I mean, I know we had a few false starts, and that had a lot to do with our fans and how loud they were, especially down on the south end. So I want to give a shout out to that crew down there. They're exceptional today. For our defense, we were down there, luckily a fair amount with great field position, and again, Bronco Nation showed up and gave us a great home field advantage. And looking forward to seeing Bronco Nation back out next time we return to Albertson Stadium. I'll take any questions.
What does it mean guys to protect the blue today?
I mean, it's, obviously each week the goal is to be 1-0 and to focus on what it is that we need to get done to take care of that. And so being that we were on the road the first 2 games of the season, I mean, like we spoke about earlier this week, the guys are extremely excited to get the opportunity to play at home. It actually felt kind of weird, like, handling our process and stuff here. We hadn't done it since last November, in a real game situation. So to be able to smell, there's a certain distinct smell of Albertson Stadium, the concessions, the football in the air, and it's always great to be able to come back. And anyone who has played in this stadium knows exactly what I'm talking about.
How impressive was George today and your guys' ability to get him in a rhythm pretty early?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously a big to-do, and we got to continue to find ways to do so, not only in the first half but in the second half. I think we did a good job, as we spoke about, personnel and some things and making sure that not only for George but for the other personnel on the offense too, we're putting them in the best position. We know that they're going to get their opportunities with certain plays.
Offensively, I mean, you guys had a great first half, 250 yards, and then second half, not quite as good. How do you overall evaluate the offense?
Yeah, we didn't produce, and we weren't productive in the second half. We weren't, and from the standpoint of we came out, and we were able to run the ball and handle the line of scrimmage in the run game, but we weren't able to protect the quarterback. I mean, in some of those situations, yeah, Hank's got to manage them a little bit better, but when you're back there with pressure in your face, it's not always a manageable situation for him. So we've got to do a much better job protecting him, and so that we can. Get to the routes in the pass game, but otherwise we had too many negative yardage plays. I mean, we took a big one, a huge one early on. We were just lucky enough to get the ball back.
How much of
Well, I'm going to say this again. I felt like we ran the ball pretty well today. Obviously, when you take a 20-something yard hit on one play, that's going to kill what the stats say. And, you take some sacks. So we ran the ball pretty well today, Jordan. We ran the ball really well today, but we got to do a better job protecting.
What did you feel the defense did?
We're just really impressed overall. It's a group effort. When we talk about playing together, the front, the back end, the linebackers in between, but those guys have been really consistent. We played a little bit different style offense than we've seen in these first 3 games. Offensively, we've seen 3 different offenses, and so today our structure was a little bit different, and it was really exciting to see the amount of work that the defense put in through the course of this week, because this is the first time that we've played that much dime, and to handle all the adjustments, especially early on in the game when they were shifting and motioning within each play to try to create confusion. We're really excited about how the defense handled themselves, and we're able to play pretty consistent. We gave up 1, and it really wasn't on Caleb. I mean, shoot, we messed our pass rush up front, and the quarterback had all day, but aside from that, the defense was stout all day.
Back to George real quick. I mean, the first couple of games, how much of these kind of has to be patient and grind through those to get to a game like today where you had a little bit of space?
Yeah.
We saw what he's capable of today, obviously.
Yeah, just being able to get him the ball on the perimeter too, in some of those situations where there is space out there, and that gets him in. We got to get him as many touches as we can, and also keep Ashton involved too. I mean, it's the 1-2 punch within the run game, and then it's got to be able to open up the pass game. And we did hit some more explosive pass plays today, but there were plenty more out there that we were capable of executing.
It was the first rushing touchdown for him in a year. Was that a little bit of a weight off his shoulder, do you think, to get a rushing touchdown?
I mean, I'm sure he was excited. Everybody likes scoring touchdowns, but a weight off his shoulders. I mean, I don't know if George looks at it that way.
Just going back to the defense for a second. 2 weeks in a row, you've been dominant against the run. Why have you had so much success in that area?
Again, it just goes down to preparation and the guys being coachable up front each and every week and studying and figuring out, okay, what does this team do in the run game? What do we got to take away? And each and every week, that's a process. It doesn't just happen. The amount of work that goes into that, the amount of film study, the amount of making sure that our fundamentals and techniques and how everybody's fitting the piece of the puzzle up front. I mean, I'm telling you, Ron, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and that's what we just talked to the team about right now, is the work that we have to put in every single week on a Monday night, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday and a Friday. Is it worth the feeling of what we feel right now to be able to do what we did on defense?
The pass protection, we see in the first half what can happen when there's 250 yards. Like I said, it looks great at times, and there's times where it's struggle to get a yard. And how frustrating, I guess, is that, and the fact that you haven't even put a whole game offensively together?
Yeah, we'll get back to work, and we'll look at it. We'll look at where we're going to get better.
And that was me. That asked that question. Kent said that was Andy loves it when I ask questions, Kent. That was I basically was asking about the offense struggling in the second half. How do you get a full game together? And it was a short and sweet. We'll take a look at it, and we'll work on it for next week. So short and sweet. I don't know if you ever had dreams of being the head coach, but would you have liked to have done the amount of media you would have had to have done as the head coach and be accountable for some of the things that Andy gets stuck talking about?
Well, the one thing I would say about that is I think it's easy to have an opinion. It's hard when you're the guy in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even have ideas like some of the stuff that people are in charge of. And, you're getting questions about, like, you're at the end of the day, as a head coach, you are in charge of the whole program. But, sometimes you're taking – nobody appreciates the stuff that, hey, maybe the head coach is, making that decision because of this or because of that. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
It's a tough job. And, at the end of the day, am I disappointed I'm not dealing with that stuff? Not really.
You would have taken the extra zero on the paychecks, maybe.
I don't know. I mean, there's absolutely. There's times when you think that, and then, You watch what guys are going through, and
look at Brian Harsin right now. Everybody loved him. He may be out of a job in a couple weeks. I mean, it's a
I mean, I hope not, but that's reality. And I would say this. I mean, to me, like, there's however many people in the world that think like, oh, we should get rid of Harsh. What's that solve? I mean, Auburn's got some issues they got to work through to fix it. Like it's more than the head coach. But anyway, and then you got 10 assistants that they're trying to figure out what their life looks like. And,
no doubt.
Where they're going for the next step. And
no doubt.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, well, hopefully that won't be the case. I never saw the final, but they got beat pretty bad today, right? So we'll see what happens with them moving forward. But somebody was asking here a couple more things that we'll get to. Is Green more plowed? A lot of people, it says, is Green more suited for Plow's offense? A lot of people take Tim Plow's offense as the read option, which is not. But and they think that maybe a mobile quarterback would have more of a, you obviously coached in the offense last year. You coached with Tim Plow. What is there a kind of quarterback that's suited for the Tim Plow?
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes would be awesome. I mean, no, it adjusts to whoever they have behind there.
Yeah.
And those guys have to be fully committed. They have to be very smart. They have to study. They have to work. And that's the start of it. That's just the start of it. Then it's like, okay, what skills do you have? What's your best thing? Mm-hmm. Is it accuracy? Is it toughness? Is it running ability? Is it throwing ability? Is it, all that? And then you adjust that stuff by who you have.
Couple more comments here. Enjoyed watching Tarlis go crazy. We haven't talked much about the individual guys on defense. George Tarlis had 3 tackles, tackle for loss, also a pass breakup. You had Tyreek Jones, 4 tackles, had a tackle and a half. They played a lot more dime today, Kent, a lot more of the extra defensive back. Yep. So we saw a lot more of Alexander Tubner in there. And then when he would come in, it was either Schramm or Noah going out. Obviously, that's the passing attack, and that quarterback for UT Martin was at times pretty impressive coming into this game. But maybe for fans out there, the extra defensive back, what do you make of that, and why that they were doing that?
Well, I'm sure they had tendencies based on personnel and down and distance. And, if they're going to throw it, then obviously you'd like another DB in there. The great advantage Boise State has is between Tyreek, JL, and Tubner, like those guys can drop down and play linebacker. And
yeah. JL was actually on the line a lot in coverage today, too. Yeah,
absolutely.
Good to have him back. So, he missed last week. Obviously, it was good to have him back, but that was a little wrinkle to the defense today.
Yeah, and lots of different blitz patterns out of that. So I think there's it's something you'll continue to see over the course of the year. As an offense, you're trying to figure out, like, okay, who's coming? JL, Tyreek, and the lineman. Like, that gets complicated.
We do have someone commenting us for being positive. He says, thanks for setting the tone, keeping it positive. Don't want to hear the hyperbole. That's why I continue to listen. Can we improve? Always. Go Broncos. This guy says, Avalos does not get a pass. Knew the offense struggled last season. Stayed with Plow. Unless things improve, might not last long. He's talking about Harsin being on the hot seat here. Offense still the issue. Play calling, O-line, Hank, change needed. You said it's never one thing, right? It's never, and Andy was saying, maybe it was Andy that said that earlier today, but it's never just the O-line or just the play call or just that. But the two people that it is easiest to blame, right, are the offensive coordinator and the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, and the head coach, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
And I'm not trying to bring anybody into this, but Hawk always used to say that, like, hey, the head coach and the quarterback get way too much blame and way too much credit.
Oh yeah,
and that's reality.
Harsh would say that too. Yeah.
And I would loop the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator into that. Like, way too much blame, way too much credit. There's no perfect game plan. At this level, there's no awful game plans. Sometimes things just don't work exactly like you think they're going to.
Yeah.
And, I commend Boise State on all ends. Like, they're going, hey, we're trying to change things, do things different, and fix it. Like I said, a lot of the huddle, the change in the personnel, shifts in motions. I think that's probably a little bit more what fans are used to seeing here.
Yeah.
Mostly because that was kind of the heyday.
They're going to say they were used to 50 points and 500 yards too.
Well, yeah, I get that. There's been a lot of good teams here that won without 50 points and 500 yards.
Yeah.
So to say that you're used to that, that's easy. But there's a lot of games that didn't happen. Somebody else will probably say the year, but Boise State BYU 7-3, I think.
7-6, right?
Whatever.
Canadian Bacon, Atkinson
Mike
had
Atkinson, yeah.
Yep, that was 2012, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep. And it was, again, I know it's FCS. I think the reason was coming into this game, I don't think people actually thought they'd lose. I think it was how much better can they look? How much can they win by? But it's almost like we're doing a show after they lost. They did win 30-7 here.
Yeah. And you know what? Nobody feels worse that every single play didn't work than the players and coaches. They're like, oh, I could have done better on that play. I could have. Like, nobody feels worse than them.
Yeah.
But that's the other team's playing too.
Yeah.
They have good players. Like, those guys are probably going to be, final
FCS
4A,
playoff team or something.
Whatever, FCS playoff team. Maybe better than that. Hell, they might win it. So I don't think there's negative in this game. I think there's positives and things that they can improve on.
Sure.
But I saw, to me, I like I said, I thought they played well and did better. And do you want to hang on to the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which you were pointing out earlier, the time of possession was like, what, 39-20
almost
or something?
40-20.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose many games doing that.
Yeah.
And when you get into conference play and you're playing Wyoming and Air Force and teams that are trying to dominate that.
Yeah.
Like, if you can do that, you're probably going to win the game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, does anybody really care how much you won by?
Fans
obviously.
Do. Yeah, Vegas
obviously.
does.
But if you finish 11-1,
sure, no one's going to look back.
Is everybody excited about that?
I kind of said that last week in the New Mexico game. No one's going to care in November that you didn't beat New Mexico by more than 17 points or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think fans did want to see just a little more growth in the offense in general. You look at the first half, the second half, 251 in the first half, 76 in the second half. Part of that's 3 of 9 on third down in the second half, 5 of 7 in the first half. But still in the second half at 20 minutes, over 20 minutes in the time of possession.
Yeah, and again, in my opinion, they were trying to control the clock.
Okay.
That was their focus in the second half, was trying to control the clock. They weren't worried about big plays and all that kind of stuff. And holding calls are going to happen at some point in the game. They're just going to happen.
The second half play calls, to your point, was 9 passes, 27 runs.
Yeah. So I think that was the focus in the second half. And is it exciting? Yeah, maybe not. But for the team, it was exciting because they won. They did what they needed to do to win.
Yeah. Hey, one thing that was positive, though, that I want to talk about before we get out of here was the special teams. You obviously have a strong background in special teams. James Ferguson Reynolds, we mentioned him briefly at the beginning. He got a lot of, I don't want to say criticism, but he came in with a lot of hype going into the season. First college game at Oregon State, he was a little nervous, struggled a little bit in his first college game. He's been much better the last 2 games.
Okay, so to me, and I don't know him at all.
Okay.
But you come over from Australia.
Yep.
Your first college football
First American-style football game, yeah.
A pretty good atmosphere despite only half the stadium being full because they only had half a stadium.
Good
My
point.
alma mater.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to happen. I'd love to tell you could get inside of everybody's head and know exactly how they were going to respond, all that. But it's different.
But he's been much better the last 2 games. Today he was
been awesome.
45 average. Is that what you take that?
Put a couple out at the 5.
Yep.
I think
3 inside the 20. He did have that one about the 4 or 5 yard line. For
one
a
16,
45.3 average, would you take that as a?
Oh God, yeah.
And I think that's the second.
Always.
I think he was right around 45 the second game. The first game was like in the 38 range. So he's been
and they're
better.
changing the launch point. He kicks from different places, so it's hard to get a block.
So Jonah,
I think that's good.
Jonah Dalmas, another guy that missed the 2, which we were surprised to see because he only missed 2 of all of last season. And then he misses 2 in the Oregon State game. But he goes 3 for 3 today, makes 1 from 48 yards. That's now 5 in a row. I believe he made his only attempt against New Mexico. Made, I believe, the 3rd attempt, if I'm remembering correctly. I think he missed the first 2 against, maybe I have that mixed up. But either way, he was 3 for 3 tonight. I don't think anybody was worried about Jonah, but it was nice. He had a nice game today, too.
I keep going back to it. It's first game. But I'm just telling you the reality of it. It's first game. Hey, he came out. It could have been a million things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he missed a couple. He fixed it. He rebounded. I would expect him to go on, continue to have a great year. Jonah, like 49 yards for 48 yards, whatever for him, that's nothing. That's
By the way, his dad, I don't know if you saw, but his dad caught one of his extra points.
I did not.
He was back in the north end zone, I believe, and caught one. They showed it on TV, but Mr. Dalmas caught one of the extra points.
I did not see that.
Oh, that's just kind of.
I thought the holds were excellent. So.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Someone said sat by the Dalmas family. It was amazing to see one of his PATs get caught by his dad. How about that? That's kind of rare. Speaking of catching balls, I'd love to catch 700 here in a couple of days.
That would be awesome, DJ.
We're both big Cardinals fans here, so I don't know what this if we won the game yet or if we're still tied, but almost scored. Let's see, great placement. By the way, Kent, Missouri State up 24-17 on number 10 Arkansas going into the fourth quarter, and Missouri State
Bobby
just beat.
Petrino probably had an action right there.
That's right. The Missouri State Bears. When I was living in there, they were the Southwest Missouri State Bears way back in the day. Now they're the Missouri State Bears. But you also wanted to mention Cole Wright, too. He had, I think, 58 yards on 2 kick returns.
Oh, yeah.
We mentioned George Chalani, 69 punt return yards. Overall, I mean, it was a really nice game for special teams.
I thought those guys did an amazing job. Got after it, covered well. Obviously the specialists and the returners did a great job. But just overall, huge play. Recovered a fumble down there. I'd love to say caused a fumble. I thought that happened, but I think the guy basically just dropped it. But, they had enough people around there to jump on it right away.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And that led to a touchdown, I believe, which kind of made the score look a little better. This would have been a 23-7 game that we're talking about. But,
but that's part of the game, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can say, hey, we didn't, but that's also a chance that probably one less offensive possession, the way that happens. So who knows? Maybe offense would have scored there too.
We got folks on here saying this is a 7-5 football team. Do you feel this is a 7-5 team?
I don't.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna. Again, this is early in the season. Still, I know it's game 3 or whatever, but they're progressing. I think they're going to cause a lot of problems for. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think they're going to cause problems. I think they are the problem for a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where they go.
So Friday game now, what's the schedule like for coaches? You got a Friday game. At least they're at home. At least they do get a little time this evening. But to take us into the, what it was like when you guys had Friday games, what's that turnaround like?
They're some of them probably in the office right now, trying to wrap this game up, get it ready to go. And then by tomorrow morning, they'll be either in there early wrapping this game up or back in the office. Maybe someone come back later tonight, wrap it up. But, probably by 8 a.m. tomorrow, they're on to UTEP, getting that set to go. Get the plan ready.
Which day do you skip, or how do you make up for the loss of a day in terms of practice time and things like that?
They'll probably go Sunday and Monday together tomorrow, and then Monday morning roll into a Tuesday practice.
Okay.
And then Wednesday practice, Thursday, Friday, game day.
Yeah. Is it harder traveling too on a short week, being the traveling team, or does that not really matter?
I don't think that matters a whole bunch anymore. If it was Saturday to Thursday, maybe that matters a little bit more. But there's really only kind of 2 ways to do it. You either roll Sunday and Monday into one day or Thursday and Friday into one day.
Okay.
And, my guess is they'll kind of roll Sunday and Monday into one day, but those are your 2 options.
So what's your final thing? I mean, what's your final message, final takeaways from the game, final message to the almost 100 fans still watching this live, as we're almost 50 minutes in. Obviously 2-1. Maybe hasn't been the style points that some fans would have liked, from start to finish in some of these games, last week included. But 2-1 team going on the road, to UTEP, a team that it looks like they're going to be heavily favored over. You got the 2 big conference games coming up at home the weeks after that with San Diego State and Fresno. But what would kind of be your final takeaways from today or your parting message for Bronco Nation here?
Get out and support these guys. They're working their butts off. They're going to be a great team. Where you are this week doesn't dictate where you are at the end of the year. So get out here and support these guys. I'm excited about them. I see a bunch of guys stepping up, making plays, and they're fun to watch. Does every play work perfectly? No, and it never will. Tom Brady's won a lot of games with, some bad plays here and there. So it's, I just think
You're
big thing
heckled
is
by fans here.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. What's up, Johnny? Oh, he's not a fan. We could call him a fan. You said you never know who's going to show up at the James.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get down here to the James, celebrate, enjoy the new menu they got going on down here.
And we are hopefully going to be on the patio for future games. It's nice weather. I think it was the PA guy scared us. He said it was going to hail. It was windy for a while. The banner was going everywhere. We decided to take it down. Big props to our intern, Jaden, BSU student in journalism and media, for taking it down and then helping us put it back up downstairs. But we got through it, and it was a fun time.
We can do this anywhere.
Yeah, this was fun. So, although they keep bringing by the pizzas and stuff.
I'm about to get into some of that pizza.
Well, we appreciate your time, Kent. I kept you a little longer than I told you would, but it was great stuff, and we appreciate it. And folks really have enjoyed the comments. Hopefully, folks enjoyed the show. Again, we'll be back every post-game of the home games here at the James. We'll probably be here pre-game as well. We were here for the pre-game show before. So hopefully you're checking out BroncoNationNews.com of the website. Check it out. Hopefully you'll subscribe, and we keep doing things like this. But and then hopefully we'll see, as I said, post-game for the James, the next home game against San Diego State. What's that, the 30th? Friday the 30th, I believe, in 2 weeks from now. But we'll get Shea Oladipo and George Helani. They both talk to the media as well. We'll get those up on our YouTube channel, so you can check those out on the Bronco Nation YouTube channel. But appreciate everybody for checking us out. Appreciate Lithia, Ford of Boise, Idaho Central Credit Union, RowPaint.com, our major sponsors, and, of course, Barry and Perry and Scott and everybody here at the James for taking care of us.
Oh, don't leave out Darren College.
Yeah, Darren College is around here somewhere as well. So had a great time. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. And thanks a lot. 30-7 is the final. Boise State 2-1. I'll talk to you Monday morning with the aforementioned John Mallory, 9 a.m. on Bronco Nation News Live. So have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.